Hi guys, welcome to another podcast for LAWCET 3 years 2021. So result is out and today we have Rutesh Kolte and he is from Mumbai Kalyan and he scored 118, 118 marks out of 150 and finally GLC, right?
Hope so.
So
Thank
first
you
of
so
all,
much for having me.
yeah. So Ritesh, first of all, congratulations for 118.
Thank you so much.
So once you saw your result, how was the feeling? Did you expect it? This ki मेरा ये score आ जाएगा? Did you uh, it was surprising for you?
It was not really that surprising because I had really put on a lot of efforts and I was expecting a score between 115 to 125, somewhere between that. So it was not really that much of a surprise for me, but I was damn happy that it happened.
Okay. Finally, like you are happy with the score,
Yes, satisfied.
satisfied.
Yeah.
Okay. So what motivated you to go for the law field and write the entrance examination?
Well, as of now, my educational qualifications are BE Civil. So while I was pursuing my civil engineering,
Mhm.
I came across many experiences which forced me to believe that maybe this is not the right field for me. And
Okay.
I started looking out for options. And I
Mm-hmm.
found out that the field which was the closest to my skill set, which really I believe it to be suiting my skill set, it was law. I I found out certain movies and web series, etc. Most of the people who would be watching this must be understanding which ones I'm referring to. So most like I saw them and I really it motivated me to go ahead with the field of law. Apart from that, the eloquence with which the lawyers speak in the courtroom and the entire courtroom atmosphere that really motivated me to actually pursue law.
Which movie? Section 370, Article 15.
Yeah, pretty much. If you talk about Bollywood, these movies, Hollywood, mein, there's one movie called Lincoln Lawyer. Certain, pictures like that.
Recently, there is a JB movie.
Yes, Jai Bhim also. Although that happened after my exam, but yeah,
Okay.
it would have motivated me too.
Okay. So basically, science background, you shifted to now law field, right?
Yes.
Okay. Next question: when you started your preparation, when you heard of okay to do pursue law, you have to write the entrance exam, and have you started your preparation for the entrance?
It was actually I was on a very short leash. I wasn't really sure because it was a big leap to completely change the field from technical to legal,
Right.
and I wasn't sure whether my parents would let me, and even I was not sure mentally if I wanted to do it.
Mhm. So when it's come to the preparation, looking at there are four section: logic, English, GK, and legal aptitude. Which
Yeah.
section you enjoyed most, and which section you were not comfortable with, and what you have done for it?
I was also preparing along with law preparation. I was also focusing on certain other examinations that had similar syllabus to that of the law CET.
Which exams?
So CDSC, the Armed Forces, which is
Okay,
conducted by UPSC.
okay.
So I was preparing already for that particular examination. So most of my syllabus was already covered because of that, and I had a deep interest in humanities like history, geography, and even science for that matter. So GK was not a problem for me. I would say the one thing which I struggled with a little bit was legal aptitude because that was a new subject for me. That was not in any of the previous studies that I have done.
Hmm.
So I would say that was a little tricky, but I still like covered that much.
Mhm. And okay, English is RC, grammar, vocab, all thing was sorted, right?
Yeah, that was not a problem.
Okay. So whatever you had prepared and when you written the real exam, what are the changes or the kind of a mistake you can say you think you have done in the exam
As in preparation wise,
as in preparation wise, and when you were writing the exam, some of the mistake we ideally do, we spend more time sometime on a particular question, or sometimes we solve tough question first and and because of that we spend more time. So any kind of a such mistake you have done in the real exam?
I wouldn't say I have, but I would have done had the paper had not been jumbled. So I watched your videos before.
Mm-hmm.
You put on these short stories and where you told that the paper was the paper is going to be jumbled and be ready for that. I believe the jumbled format is actually more convenient for me. Had it been section wise, then I might have spent a little more time in the legal aptitude section, because there's a humongous amount of information that needs to be, analyzed before answering the particular question. So I wouldn't say a mistake was committed by me in the paper. I was pretty aware of the time management.
Okay, okay, great. So those who are science background and switch their domain into the law field, what uh what you want to say on it? Because this is something very rarely people do.
Okay, I
What are
would
the
just
challenges?
say,
I mean to say challenges you have faced, and why this dubious thing or the dilemma idly come in your mind to go for the to switch your field basically.
I am someone who, my parents to tell me, and I believe it to be true to an extent too, that I can do anything I want to in life. So I chose engineering. I thought it would be a very, exciting thing to do, and it indeed was. But certain experiences came, uh, I was not aware most of the times. I was involved in other activities also, and I did not focus much on my academics. So my bachelor's was not that exciting for me, and I am a student who got a KT in almost all the semesters of engineering.
Okay.
So except the eighth semester, I had got KT in all my semesters,
Uh-huh.
and I believe it to be the pandemic happened, and that's why I got lucky, and maybe the engineering got over in 4 years that it was supposed to be. But that's how I figured out that maybe it's time for a shift. And I analyzed what my strengths were, what my weaknesses were. I actually sat down at a place, I wrote down, and I believe that that's what motivated me to come to law. So the decision became easy for me.
Mhm. What do you think? If someone want to choose their career, his or her career into the law, what are the quality they should check? It is a kind of a counseling question. So what they
Yeah.
should check कि मुझे law में जाना चाहिए कि नहीं जाना चाहिए? What are the parameters ideally you should check?
First things first, if you find, if you have that, the thirst for blood, you can say, for, as someone who's aspiring to be a criminal lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
your argument is going to, give a decision maybe which will be used as a precedent in the future. Your argument in front of a particular judge, that might be cited further in, people might be studying about it. If that motivates you, then law is your field. Secondly, what I think one should one should think that maybe law is for them is if they have an eloquence in the language, if they are really smart, you know English as well as whatever mother tongue they have. If they are very fluent in speaking, and they really like their extrovert, they like doing oratory activities, they like being on the stage, and having being the center of attention, I think law is for them. So I think these two qualities I can remember as of now, which should motivate one person to think that he or she is suited for law.
Great, great. Okay, last question. As I asked this question to everyone, what tips or the suggestion you want to give to upcoming year aspirant, those who are targeting for 2022-23 exams?
I actually have written down a few points in
Yeah,
case
yeah,
I miss, so
yes,
I hope
yes,
you don't mind.
yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
The one thing which I would the first thing which I would like to suggest to all the aspirants is stick to a strategy, and only one strategy. Don't go ahead and watch a gazillion videos on YouTube saying, prepare this way, prepare that way. Spend an hour or so, or spend an entire day to formulate one strategy, and then stick to it for at least 5 or 6 months. I did not have that kind of a luxury, but if I had, I would surely, have scored above 125 or something. So that's my first suggestion. Stick to only one strategy. Second suggestion would be use very limited sources. Don't go ahead and buy, spend a fortune on buying so many reference books, and
Don't make
just
basically library at home.
Yeah, don't make a library at home because it's just an entrance examination. Make a library of the books which you will be using it in the law, in the course itself. Don't you? Entrance is a very, you have to keep your sources really minimal.
Hmm.
But extensive revision is required. जितना भी आप पढ़ रहे हो, make sure that you go into the depth of it. So question कैसे भी अगर घुमा फिरा के आता है, so still you will be able to answer them. There was one particular question I remember. It was about ₹1 note पे किसका signature होता है. That was a question asked in this year's entrance examination. So it's the finance secretary. There was also, I believe, an option was there where it was written finance minister, RBI governor, etc. So you have to be careful ki this is an exceptional case. So that's how you extensive revision will help you that way. The third thing is solve PYQs and mocks. The previous year questions and mock tests are the key to eliminating the fear out of your mind of for the entrance test. If it hadn't been for PYQs and mocks, I would not have been able to score even 100 plus in this examination.
Right.
And I would also suggest ki identify your interest. The paper has a wide, it has a wide area.
There
There
are
are
four
many subjects.
sections.
Yeah, there are 4 sections, and 4 sections maybe, especially if I talk about GK. English is something you will have to work upon. There's no alternative to that. And I'll suggest for English, you make a reading of the Hindu newspaper every day. It's not that difficult to read a newspaper, and it is something. It's a good habit. You'll come to know about a lot of issues happening around you, and it will subsequently increase your English vocabulary skills as well. For GK, I would suggest I didn't don't go about all. मैंने economics को हाथ भी नहीं लगाया. I did not
Okay.
even look at whenever an economic question, even in the CET when an economic question came, I completely ignored it because it is my Achilles heel. I don't think I am that good in economy. Instead,
Mhm.
my plus points were geography, history, and polity. So I focused on them, and also general science because I had a science background.
Mhm.
So I identified my strengths. I would suggest all the aspirants to do that. Ki identify your strengths and work on that first. And if time is remaining, then go ahead and focus on the other subjects. That does not mean that if you're interested in just one topic, तो हम वही कर रहे हैं और बाकी सब छोड़ दे रहे हैं. It
Mhm.
has to be minimum 80 to 90% of the paper that you're interested in.
Right.
Apart from that, English improvement, as I said, is mandatory. If the Hindu, along with the Hindu, just to add to the recreation also, and even study in the recreation period, I would suggest you watch one episode of Suits and such web series, or movies which are related to law, because certain terms, certain um, legal magazines, etc., are used in these movies, and it is better if you remember it that way rather than
Hmm.
just mugging it up from a book.
Right.
And
Right.
before starting all of this, the final tip that I would like to give is, before starting all of this, just give a test and see where you're standing, because it's important to know where you're standing if you have to climb all the way up to the top. If you have to go to GLC, you have to check first of all then where you stand right now, and accordingly plan your preparation. I think if one sticks to all these particular things, it is not very difficult for one to actually crack through MHCET law.
Great. Great. So all the strategy, all the tips you have mentioned. So let me summarize. Anything else remaining?
No, not at all.
All done. So if I summarize the entire Rutesh podcast, so first of all, you should have a proper planning, proper roadmap for the preparation. You should know what syllabus, what section, what topic you are good or weak in, and accordingly work on it. For English, obviously, if you are want to become a lawyer, English is important. So try to improve it, and very simple way, start reading newspaper, the Hindu, Indian Express, novel, English movie, law oriented movie you can watch. Start your early preparation, ideally 5-6 months, but I'd suggest all time 1 year preparation. Sometimes people 2 years preparation also uh, do, depending on if there is a board exams, final year graduation exams as such. And yeah, mock test and mock test analysis, that is what again very important. Yeah, these are the some parameters. I think this is what a summary of this podcast, right? Such kind of a podcast will keep on coming up, so do watch all the podcasts. आई थिंक रुतेश ने काफी डिटेल में काफी स्ट्रैटेजी टिप्स आई मीन बहुत अच्छे से बताई है, मतलब मेरी मेरी जरूरत भी नहीं है. सो आई इफ यू फॉलो दिस थिंग डेफिनेटली यू कैन क्रैक CET with the good score and finally end up with the GLC and IELTS Pune like Rutesh. Yeah. So be connected with the channel and lots of podcasts also keep on coming up. You must watch all those podcasts and learn from the podcast and implement the same in your preparation so that we should not do any kind of a mistake in our final exam. Okay. Chalo. Bye bye and thank you Ritus joining and sharing your experience.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Same here.